are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. Before we get into the brackets for the upcoming tournament, let's take a look at the final top 25 media poll. There's at least one change in the rankings to tell you about. The Arkansas Razorbacks fell all the way from the number 16 spot to number 24.
That's not the direction you want to be going at this time of year, but they're a strong enough team that I believe they can turn it around.
The poll voters have had their say in the national ranking since November, but the time has come to hand over the reins to the selection committee. Now let's take a look at the NCAA tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams, Clark. Which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
Temple can make a case as to why they deserve a tournament bid. Problem is, everyone else can make a case as to why they don't belong in the tournament.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
Colorado could have sealed their invitation with a better regular season finish, but the fact is they play in a very tough conference, and that does weigh heavily in their favor.
I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The away teams are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. They begin the tournament as the dominant team in college basketball. They've been ranked number 1 in the media poll for the past 8 weeks. Let's see if they can live up to everyone's expectation. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The North Carolina Tar Heels are seeking their 5th NCAA championship in school history. The Tennessee Volunteers are our 3rd number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our 4th number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Pittsburgh Panthers are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 5th. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April 7th. Any surprises in there for you, Clark?
Well, when you see the selection committee deviate from the top 4 teams in the media poll, it's a little surprising. They've opened themselves up to some criticism with these picks.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The away team are the top seed, finishing at 31-1. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the Big 12. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between Robert Morris with 19 wins and North Carolina A&T from the MEAC. And now, the number 8 seed, the UCLA Bruins, come into the tournament on the strength of an 8th place finish in their conference regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the LaSalle Explorers, who were 2nd in their conference, finishing at 20-10. Georgia Tech comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 18-12. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Ivy League, the Columbia Lions, with 18 wins. Texas A&M enters the field as the number 4 seed from Conference USA. This is their 9th appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Maryland-Baltimore County Retrievers. Finished the season with 22 wins.
The Texas A&M Aggies are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
The Washington State Cougars are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Louisville Cardinals, with 23 wins. Memphis comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 26-8. Detroit comes in to face them at number 14 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the Horizon League. Our number 7 seed is from the Horizon League. The Butler Bulldogs had a tremendous tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Stanford Cardinals, who were 5th in their conference, finishing at 17 and 14. Next up is the number 2 seed, the Kentucky Wildcats, have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the Belmont Bruins, with 17 wins. This is their 3rd appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. What a tremendous regional final we'd have in this bracket if the number 1 and 2 seeds here make it through the first 3 rounds unscathed. That could be one of the games of the tournament. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The North Carolina Tar Heels are the top seed, finishing at 29 and 5. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the ACC. They'll take on the Jackson State Tigers, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their 4th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. Tennessee State comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 23 and 7. St. Louis comes in to face them at number 9 with 19 wins and a chance to make believers out of any doubters they might have. Miami enters the field as the number 5 seed from the ACC. This is their 6th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Wofford Terriers, finished the season with 22 wins.
Miami Hurricanes are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far, and they're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
Austin Peay comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 26 and 7. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Sun Belt Conference, the Arkansas State Indians, with 20 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Vanderbilt Commodores, come into the tournament after finishing 7th in their conference during the regular season and were winners of their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who were 4th in their conference, finishing at 17 and 14. The George Mason Patriots are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Fairfield Stags, with 18 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Clemson Tigers have established themselves as one of the best teams from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the UNLV Runnin' Rebels, with 23 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Our number 2 seed is from the Big 12. The Kansas Jayhawks were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the McNeese State Cowboys, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 16 and 13. I think this could wind up being the bracket that brings us this year's Cinderella story. A few of the higher seeds here have had terrific seasons, and I'll be surprised if at least one of them doesn't put together a long run in this tournament. On to our 3rd bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. The Tennessee Volunteers are the top seed, finishing at 24 and 8. They finished 3rd in the SEC. They'll take on the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their 11th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Our number 8 seed is from the SEC. The Arkansas Razorbacks were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the Utah Utes, who finished 2nd in their conference tournament, finishing at 22 and 9. The Auburn Tigers are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the Indiana State Sycamore, with 18 wins. Michigan State enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big Ten. This marks their 22nd appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the High Point Panthers, finished the season with 16 wins.
The Michigan State Spartans have more to prove than any other team in this tournament. They haven't had a lot of experience in the tournament recently, so it's difficult to say exactly how they'll handle it. They've shown they're capable of playing with the best teams in the nation during the regular season. Now they need to show they belong with those teams come tournament time.
LSU comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 19 and 13. And they take on the 11th seed from the Ohio Valley Conference, the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, with 20 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Xavier Musketeers, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Western Michigan Broncos, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 21 and 10. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Georgetown Hoyas have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Big East. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Fresno State Bulldogs, with 21 wins. This is their 6th appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Duke comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 21-9. George Washington comes in to face them at number 15 with 14 wins in the tournament championship of the A-10 Conference. This bracket has the potential to give us a sensational matchup in the regional final if everything goes according to form and the top 2 seeds can survive the early round. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Pittsburgh Panthers are the top seed, finishing at 26-7. They were winners of the regular season championship in the Big East. They'll take on the Missouri-Kansas City Kangaroos, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Next up is the number 8 seed. The Arizona Wildcats are the regular season champions from the Pac-10. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the North Carolina State Wolfpack, with 15 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Dayton comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 21-9. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Big 12, the Colorado Buffaloes, with 19 wins. Western Kentucky comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 25-5. America comes in to face them at number 13 with 22 wins in the tournament and regular season championships of the Patriot League. Our number 6 seed is from the Pac-10. The Oregon Ducks were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the Big Dance. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Tribe of William and Mary, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 18-11. The Washington Huskies are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Cal State Northridge Matadors, with 19 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the Villanova Wildcats, come into the tournament on the strength of a 3rd place finish in their conference regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Missouri State Bears, who were regular season champions in their conference, finishing at 19-11. Alabama enters the field as the number 2 seed from the SEC. This will be their 20th appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed. The Montana Grizzlies finished the season with 18 wins.
The Alabama Crimson Tide are certainly a team to watch out for. They're a tremendous all-around team that has the ability to beat anyone on any given day. They didn't get to be one of the highest-ranked teams in the nation by accident. This is a dangerous team that knows how to win, and I would not take them lightly.
It's the first question every selection Sunday. Which is the toughest bracket? Well, this bracket looks to me like it wins that prize this year. Not only are the top seeds strong, the lower seeds can be dangerous as well. What are your thoughts on our top 16 seeds, Clark?
Memphis should be a higher seed, Greg, in my opinion. Look at their poll number and their strength of schedule. It's a real surprise they slipped to a 3 seed. Xavier has some flaws that are going to keep them from being a dangerous team in that number 3 position. There are usually some Final Four contenders among the 3 seeds, but I'd look elsewhere this year.
Now, let's see how the conference representation fares. The SEC gets 7 teams. The ACC with 6. 6 out of the Pac-10. The A-10 gets 5 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences, but not this year.
And let's not forget the teams out of the Ohio Valley Conference. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament. A fairly even balance of power among the major conferences this season. A lot of the big teams are in, and the bids are spread out pretty much like you'd expect them to be. We showed you the bubble teams before. Now that we know who's in and who's out, what do you think of the selections, Clark?
Ohio State was helped tremendously by their non-conference schedule. They played a lot of the top teams in the nation before heading into conference play, and that impressed the committee, I'm sure.
While those teams are celebrating getting into the tournament, let's take a look at the other teams who were on the short end of the stick.
Virginia probably thinks their resume is as good as a few of the teams that got an invitation, but they didn't have that preseason tournament championship or that one big win that would have set them apart.
Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, let's let's throw the ball up right now. I can't wait to get started. I hope this NCAA tournament is a lot of those special moments that stay with us for years to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.